Hello, welcome back to day 4 of Vlognukah, where I'm making 8 videos for the 8 days of Hanukkah today. So I live in a 2-bed, 2-bath flat in London. We have lived here for 7 years. Me and my husband moved here before we got married. We have since gotten married. We have had a child who is now 3.5 years old. And so this flat has gone through a lot of changes, a lot of iterations, most of which have been documented here on this channel over the years. And as much as I wish I could be that kind of home interiors content influencer for you guys, where, you know, I'm moving, I'm buying a new place, I'm renovating and doing all of the things constantly, we're still living in this flat. And I've just realized that I have dressed to match this room. Blanche, am I right? But I thought it would be fun nonetheless to take you on a little storage tour of the flat, because storage is one of those things that, especially with London flats, London homes, it is really hard to come by. And also, anytime I make a video, a vlog that just happens to show me putting a wash on, doing some laundry, there will always be comments from people who live outside of the UK and outside of Europe just saying, "You have your washing machine in your kitchen?" And I'm like, yes, because there's nowhere else to put it. We don't have a separate laundry room. If only, one can dream. But as a family of 3, there is a lot of stuff that we have to organize. And especially as a family of 3 who's trying to be a family of 4, so we are hoarding and keeping hold of a lot of Rowan's baby stuff, like fingers crossed. And the older and the bigger he gets, the more stuff that we accumulate, and the longer it takes for me to get pregnant, the longer that stuff accumulates and the pile just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Okay, well, that's a story for another time. So I'm gonna give you a little tour and show you some of my favorite storagey things that we have done around the flat. Starting off with this room. So you may recall we recently decorated our balcony, finally, just in time for autumn winter. And this is one that is very satisfying to me because it was completely unplanned and we just got very lucky. But the cushions that are on our outside sofa fit perfectly underneath our inside sofa. So when it's raining, inside they come, shove them under the sofa. And yeah, that is incredibly lucky. We maybe should have planned a bit better to make sure that that was the case, because if they didn't fit under the sofa, I honestly don't know where we would put those sofa cushions when it's raining, but it's fine. It's fine. They fit under here, so we're all good and we don't have to worry about it. But also, it's currently not raining, and so the sofa cushions are actually out on the balcony right now. But they do fit under here, I promise. The next thing in this room I want to show you is just over here. So let's move around. Da, 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 da! This TV unit cupboard thing, maybe, I think definitely actually, is the most expensive thing in this flat. So if you're gonna rob us, try getting this thing out. No, but it's only really valuable to us because it is custom made for this space, hence why it's also so expensive. And I helped design it. Whole video on that previously when we were doing the living room. So this is where we store all of our board games, over here, and then also over here. Lovely, lovely. I've done a whole video tier ranking all of the board games that we own. So if you're interested in collection, go check out that video. And then we have a lot of storage space going on down here. So this drawer, boom, excellent. This drawer is mostly stationery. We've got like sellotape and envelopes and a ridiculous amount of notebooks, Pritt stick, scissors, blue tack. And then this side is some of Rowan's things. So we've got some clay, chalk, Play-Doh. This is like his section, but this is actually a double drawer. Da, 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 da. And this is where a lot of electronics and chargery things go because, again, custom made, bitch. There are holes in the back of these drawers that go down and then plug into the mains. So up here is like rechargeable battery charging station, battery charging stations for like all of my cameras and all of my gear. We've got our Nintendo Switch up here, and then when we plug it into the TV, we can just pull out the TV and like put it up here. And then also kind of like a bit of a junk drawer situation going on too. So that's very exciting. Down here, this drawer is mostly puzzles, children's puzzles and games. This side, so when we originally had this thing built, this cupboard had a pull-out platform that Dan's computer went on, and so then it plugged into the TV so he could play video games and stuff on the telly. But now with our desk situation in the bedroom, his computer, like his computer tower, is in there. And so we got Daniel, who built this for us, made an extra shelf for us and sent it to us. So this is Rowan's art supplies cupboard, and it's very lovely because he can just go in there and get things himself. It is obviously a complete mess. I made like Little Wins episode on Instagram that was about tidying it, and I remember seeing a comment just being like, that's gonna get messy so quickly, and you were right. And I have reorganized it and tidied it again one time since then, and that barely lasted a week. So it's fine. But yeah, this has just got all of like paper, pens, crayons, coloring books, stickers. That's this drawer, cupboard, boom. And then in here, here's a bit of a mystery. So in here, there's some grown-up puzzles that I haven't completed. We've got 2 sets of table tennis paddles and balls. I love table tennis, what can I say? We've got like a puzzle rolly mat thing. We've got a poker set. We've got a lot of extra boxes and pieces for Rainbow Six Siege, which is one of the big board games here. We've also got all of the landscape maps. I don't know, what are these called? We kept them in here. This is for the game Gloomhaven, and these are all of the like, these bits, and they're organized in here. We haven't played Gloomhaven once since Rowan was born, but we did finish the campaign before he was born. But this was so handy for like when it's like, you need tiles J1A. And we're like, great, we can find that. So that belongs in there. And then also in here are all of the Lego instruction manuals for all of the Lego that we've done that's around the flat. We've kept hold of the manuals because we're like, what if something happens? I don't know. I'm sure you probably could get the manuals online as well, but we've kept the manuals. And then also under here is like some of my crafty things. So there's some like embroidery projects down here. It's where I've kept any extra threads. My own watercolor painty thing is down here. My supplies for making soap are down here. And then also a bunch of like lovely big coffee table like display books from my sex ed era hiding away in a cupboard. It's fine, it's fine. That bottom one is generally very disorganized and a bit miscellaneous, but anytime I am filming a video that involves me like buying lots of things, so like for the vintage clothes video, hello orange cords, and also the like buying things from my followers' small businesses, as parcels are arriving, but I don't want to like open them all at once, they go in there because there is actually like quite a lot of space left in here, which is good. We don't want to be at capacity. I would say the way that we've strategically increased the storage space in this flat, we are still under capacity, which is a nice place to be. Speaking of being under capacity, there's more up here. There's more up here, so let's go up. Look, ta-da, more storage. And I couldn't actually tell you exactly what's in all of these. Okay, I think one of them is empty. Oh, okay, it's empty except for this, which is just like matte thing that we used for like no nappy time when Rowan was a baby, and then when he was a toddler we use it to put on the kitchen table when painting or doing like messy things. Great. Oh no, get in there. So this one up here, basically empty. Oh, and then what do we have in here? Oh, this one's also basically empty except for some extension leads. So I've got some extra extension leads if anyone needs them. Great. Here, these two have stuff in them. Oh, come on. What have we got in here? We've got filler, like for the walls. We've got some shoe polish. We've got your classic like box of cables, like all the wires and chargers and cables that a household needs. What else is up here? Okay, this is a real mix. We've got light bulbs, we've got a bib, we've got all of my old like pumping, like breast pump stuff and like milk bottle things, and a VR headset. So that is a real mix. Okay, let's move on to the kitchen. Okay, welcome to the kitchen floor and maybe the most recent storage change that we've made to the flat, and the thing that Dan and I are currently the most excited about. It's the staples cupboard. This is really anticlimactic, there we go. And just because of the way that we currently have the kitchen, it doesn't open all the way. So even more anticlimactic. And no, it's not full of stationary staples, it's full of kitchen staples, cupboard staples, non-perishables, the things that will keep forever in their tins, in their jars. Very useful just to have a cupboard full of them. Full of them. We've got beans, we've got chickpeas, we've got tuna, we've got oil, we've got soups, we've got coffee, honey, ketchup, sriracha, lentils, refried beans, tinned tomatoes, pesto, mayonnaise. It's all of the staples and all of the spares. They're just living here. I think a lot of the stuff that was in this cupboard before are the things that we saw in the top of the TV unit. So like the shoe polish and all the cables and the wires, like that all lived in here before. But we don't go for them all the time. So when we were like reshuffling a lot of the storage and organization in this kitchen, in this room, and in the whole flat in general over the years, the way that I try and think about it is in terms of accessibility, of like how often we reach for things. And so then their place in the storage hierarchy is dependent on how much we actually use it. So if we use it a lot, it's got to go somewhere that's easy to get to. If we don't use it a lot, then that goes in the next bit. And then if we like very rarely use it or never use it, then that goes in like the hardest to reach places. You get me? You following? It's not rocket science. But yeah, there's our staples cupboard. Love it. Hi again. We've come up high. Welcome to the shelf of alcohol that never gets drunk, because Dan basically only drinks beer or non-alcoholic beer, and I basically drink water. But I did actually spot there's some non-alcoholic Prosecco up there, so party season. And there is some non-alcoholic gin, although I don't know how well the non-alcoholic stuff keeps. I feel like most of this booze has been like up here since our pre-baby drinking spirits days, basically lockdowns. Also up here, we've got some tins of paint, always useful to hold on to if you ever need to like do touch-ups or fill things in. So that's where we store all of our paint, and white spirit. So just keeping with the alcohol theme. In the boxes, you can maybe see, in there I've got tons of stoma bags that don't fit me anymore. So in case you're new here, I've got ulcerative colitis and I had surgery several years ago to have my colon removed, and I have an ileostomy and I have a stoma bag. And when I was pregnant, my stoma grew a lot in size and shape, and so I needed lots of different kinds of stoma bags. And then after I gave birth, my stoma slowly went back to the shape and size that it was before. But then when I stopped breastfeeding, I gained some more weight, and so I needed a bigger bag size. So there's just like lots of different types of bags, sizes of bags, all up there for if I ever get pregnant again. And then you can't really see it, but above the fridge, there's just a massive box of non-alcoholic beer, because Dan just orders it in bulk, and then boof, lots of cans of non-alcoholic beer. Oh, and then of course over here you can see we've got some like empty chocolate boxes. We've got some cake tins and a cake box. Excelente. Come with me to the above the microwave cupboard of lost things. This needs reattaching. It's fine, don't worry about it. Ugh! Didn't think this through, did I? Basically, you're gonna have to believe me when I say in here, I would say it's more like seasonal kitchen stuff. So I've got like my Hanukkiah is up here. I'm filming this in November, so the Hanukkiah is not out yet. There are some dreidels up there. There's also, I recently bought on Vinted some like brass candle holders to use for Shabbat on Friday nights, occasionally. Candles, matches, ice lolly molds for the summer. What else is in here? Oh, lots of jugs and vases and plastic like picnic plates and a cocktail making set. There also happens to be some baby bottles in here and a bubble machine. What can I say? Okay, let's move on. Welcome to our notoriously large hallway that always becomes the dumping ground for things. Case in point, there's an old duvet here that is proper ragged and old, and we must depart with it. I've done a video before going through like a lot of my work storage stuff, which is that like cupboard there. But the main bit of storage, other than obviously where we put all of our like coats and boots and things, and you know, your classic junk drawer, is this ottoman that used to be in our bedroom, but then we changed the bedroom and now it's here. And honestly, what's in here? What is in here? I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, we've got some sun hats. We've got some like work boots for Dan. We've got some pieces of a toddler car seat that we don't have anymore that's in Dan's mum's car. We've got some plastic bags. We've got an old pair of boots of Dan's. We've got some grippy socks for trampolining. We've got an instruction manual of how to build Rowan's bike. Oh, we've got some head torches. We've got some carabiners. We've got a lot of like bags for life in here too. Oh, and another water bottle. Why? Oh, this isn't even my water bottle. Someone I played tennis with left this at the court and I took it home and then I tried to give it back to her and then she never replied. So I have a stranger's water bottle. Anyway, the hallway storage situation is one that we want to improve. We also have this big blue box, originally like an IKEA Calyx box, because we used to have a Calyx unit, of course. Doesn't everyone? It's a rite of passage. And that is like the outdoor dumping box. So it's got umbrellas in it. It's got Rowan's like waterproof trousers in it. It's also got like an outdoor football net thing in it. What else is in there? Honestly, again, a dumping ground. It's got a buggy bag in there, which I don't really use anymore because I very rarely use the buggy these days. But yeah, there's just a box of outdoory things that we occasionally need. And there's also this. We needed Rowan to do a clear out of his toys because obviously the kid has got too many and he keeps acquiring them. And Christmas and Hanukkah are upon us. And so one day I asked him to sort out his toys and we went through every single toy and I just let him be in control of it, and he chucked all of this stuff into a bin bag. And to keep it really simple and easy, it was just like keep or not keep. Those were the two choices that Rowan had. But the reason why this bin bag is still hanging out in our hallway is because Dan and I need to go through this bag because there might be stuff that we want to keep just because Rowan doesn't want it anymore. So we need to go through this bin bag and be like, yeah, that's old, that's gone, or that's donatable, or we actually want to keep this for potential future baby. So yeah, that's just been sitting around in our hallway for a long time. And it's not the only bin bag full of things in this flat that has been sitting around for a while. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. The hallway has a lot of potential because it's got a lot of height. Although if you see the bunting at the back there, this like runs around the hallway and it's our wedding bunting and I love it. And if we added storage up high, then what do we do with the bunting? What would we do with the bunting? Because we had a COVID lockdown wedding and my mum sent a piece of bunting to everyone who was originally invited to our wedding and couldn't come anymore because of COVID. And they each like designed, like made, drew, artified their piece of bunting to celebrate me and Dan getting married. And it's so sweet and I love it. And I love looking at all of the different things that people made for us. Anyway, let's move on. Welcome to the bathroom. As you can see, under this sink is where we store our Who Gives a Crap toilet paper. These sinks have lovely storage space under them. In here is basically where we keep travel wash bags and like travel miniatures. That's the responsibility of this drawer. Look at the tiny toothpaste. And then up here, if I've actually made them, that's empty now, I need to make some more, is where I keep the molds of the soap that I make, extra soap. And that basket over there is for all of the spares. So it's like the extra razor heads of my Estrid razor, extra refills for my Fussy deodorant, extra lip balms. There is actually some like extra makeup in there from back in the day, but I so very rarely wear makeup that they've just been there for a while. Extra Skin and Me products when they arrive before my other ones run out. Yeah, that's kind of what lives in there. And then also in here is where I keep the extra Wild shower gel things. Wild have since been bought by Unilever. Well, not a great company, but I've kept the bottles because I can go to a refill shop and get them refilled, which I've done once, but our closest refill shop is really far away. So it's not a good long-term strategy for us, but I did just see, and this is not sponsored by them, although a previous video has been, but again, timelines of things. I did get the Fussy newsletter about their new refillable shower gel. This is just me, not Spawn Hannah talking, but I'm assuming that for that sponsored video, they're gonna want me to talk about the shower gel. So I'm very excited to try it. And then I can probably give these to like somebody who already owns a Wild shower gel case and lives closer to a refill shop so that, you know, it actually like makes more sense for them. Over here is the one piece of furniture that is still standing that I owned before we moved into this flat. And it's this little like bathroom storage unit that I got from Argos when I used to live in Shepherd's Bush. And it is starting to fall apart, but it's pretty damn sturdy. And up here is a shit ton of period products, my menstrual cup, and like lots of reusable pads, and then also some tampons which have come in use because I had a friend who came on her period while she was around my house and she didn't have stuff, and I was like, I've got tampons! Girl, I got you! What have we got in here? In here we've got extra Fussy cases because I work with Fussy and I get extra cases from them, and then also all of the like extra Surrey brush heads for when our brush heads run out. In here we've got honestly just gifted perfume that I've been sent over the years and have never used. And in here we've got some gifted Lush bath bombs, but I don't have baths. We've got a tape measurer. This does get used a lot, and I don't know why, but my brain just always knows like this is the drawer where the tape measurer is. And then I also have my temp drop box, which is my like temperature tracking for like fertility tracking that goes on my arm when I sleep. And I have the box for it still because this is where I keep this bad boy, which is the thing that you use to open it to change the battery. And that is in there, safe and sound. What is this? What are these? What are these? I don't know. I don't know what they are. They're in there too. Great. Bath toy storage. And then we also have, we should really get rid of this. This is our nappy bin. Rowan has not been in nappies for a hot minute, and he doesn't wear them at night either now, so we don't need that bin. And then over here, behind our bathroom door, we've got storage on the back of this door for all of our dressing gowns, and then also down here is where our like dustpan and brush and mop and bucket live. This is our ensuite bathroom, and again we've got the epic drawer, and in here is my immediate stoma supplies, so things that I need for a stoma bag change. And then also in here are some just like makeup cloths, a pair of scissors, and some hair removal cream. Charming. We have another like epic above the sink like sized shelf here, which is just where all of the stuff that we use day to day goes. And then underneath the sink are 2 boxes of extra stoma supplies of things that I need and use for when the things in here run out. This room's basically my stoma closet. Okay, boudoir. Welcome. So in this room, we definitely had one of the biggest storage shifts. I made 2 whole videos of the process of redecorating this bedroom, but the long and short of it is over there are some bookshelves. I also made a whole video of me trying different ways of organizing the bookshelves, and the way that I chose to do it, I now hate. But have I had the time to reorganize it and do it again? No. It also doesn't make me very happy that most of my favorite books are not on that shelf. Because I listen to so many audiobooks, or I get books from the library. Actually, a lot of the books that I own are just kind of a bit random. It's a bit of a random collection, but that's not what this video is about. Over here, we've got our built-in wardrobe that is mostly my clothes. No shame, no shame. Although Dan is starting to build himself fine clothing collection. This is my long clothes, the long dresses and shoes. And then this one, on the top is Dan's stuff, and on the bottom is mine. But the real storage excitement in this room is the bed. We got an ottoman bed. Wow! Oh, hell yeah. And this bed is a super king, so it's a shit ton of storage under there, which is mostly suitcases, so like big travel bags, all of my non-seasonal clothes. So everything in my wardrobe currently is like autumn, winter. So all of my spring, summer clothes are under the bed. And then of course, a shit ton of Rowan's clothes that don't fit him anymore. This storage tour of my home is really reminding me that I'm not pregnant and have been trying for 2 years. I told you there was going to be another bin bag. This one has just been living in our bedroom, and it's a pile of clothes that I've been meaning to sell on Vinted. Have I got round to it? No. Do you remember? Remember when Sean came over to do that video? When was that? Like almost 2 months ago? Yeah. I've not done it yet. It's fine. It's not fine. Once again, standing on a chair. And in fact, the chair that I am standing on is the classic bedroom dumping ground chair. Of course, it has to be. So up here, to refer back to the hierarchy of storage, these are things that we don't need all that often. So in here are just some old picture frames that we don't like have space for or don't have up anymore, but want to keep hold of. There's also some like memory boxes, you know, like sentimental memory boxes. That's that cupboard. Not that exciting. Well, exciting to me. And then up here is the festive storage box. This will all be out actually by the time you're seeing this video, of course. But this University of Birmingham bag is where we keep all of our Christmas decorations. And then also up here is things like wrapping paper, and then also like presents for Rowan that we've acquired, but it's not quite time to give it him yet. Like we've got a pair of trousers up here that are too big for him, so they're going to be for his birthday next year. So this is the like holiday season and gifts cupboard up here. Boom. Okay, I've saved the best till last. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get our storage on. This is the one piece of storage that this flat came with. A storage cupboard, if you will. But the really exciting thing is what we did to it. Oh, I'm getting aroused. Okay, so in we go. Ba-ba-da-ba! It's fine. It's not like the Monica cupboard. It's not, I swear. Okay, so as you can see on the back here is like more pegs and things for coats and scarves. I've got some scarves still here because at the time of recording it, we've only just gone to scarf weather, but scarves and coats and things that are regularly getting used go out in the hallway, and then the non-seasonal things go in here. So it's mostly actually just like my springy jackets. Anyway, that's not really the exciting part. We've got our era in here. The real exciting thing are these shelves, which Dan and his dad installed into this cupboard, which has just increased to the storage capacity of this cupboard. I don't even know, infinite, it's incredible. What can you actually see? This shelf here is all of our linens, and also this is the cupboard where the like hot water tank is stored, so everything is like nice and warm. It's a classic airing cupboard. And then up here is towels. I mean, what more could you want? This shelf here, as you can see, we've got our Who Gives a Crap tissue boxes. There's only one left, but actually I forgot to say, under the ottoman in the hallway, there's a whole other box of tissue boxes, which I'll open soon, and I just pile them up here. And also under the ottoman is a big like toolbox, drill box or something. So in here, we also have some spare pillows. We've got our Hoover. We've got the buggy. The buggy no longer lives in the hallway because we very rarely use it. And Rowan's 3.5 now, and I feel like very soon we're just never going to be using the buggy anymore. That's very exciting. So the buggy is in the cupboard. Also in here, we've got a lot of tools, a lot of things. We've got a backpack to put a kid in that Dan uses a lot with Rowan. More tools. We've got a box of toys that we'd already decluttered from Rowan's room, like more baby toys. And then this box down here, I think, has just got a lot of like painting supplies in it. We've got an iron, and then all the way at the top, this is purgatory. This is like in the storage hierarchy, this is the like we never touch, we cannot reach it. And up there we've got things like the bassinet for the buggy, so like where you put a baby, that Rowan was in for 3 months of his life before he got too big and we had to put him in the seat, which is intended for 6-month-old babies and up. We also have pieces of the high chair that we had for him. What else? I can see more car seat bits up there as well. That is storage purgatory. And also, of course, once again reminded me of the fact that I'm not pregnant. It's fine. No, it's not. Okay. And then, of course, the Era lives in here as well. Thank you for watching this storage tour video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it insightful, maybe. I don't know. I will say I'm a storage enthusiast and I love organizing things, but I played no role in the building and making of any of our storage solutions, but I did play a pivotal role in planning and then the sorting at the end and putting things away. That is where I shine. But the middle part of the building and making, that's not my remit. I would love to hear from you because I love to hive mind my audience for suggestions on how to live my life and what to do with my home and my wardrobe. What should we do with the hallway? What storage solution for entryway, just more storage? You can never have too much storage in London, in a flat especially. I would love to hear your ideas. Is there anything that you've done in your home that you absolutely love? Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in another Vlognukah video tomorrow. All right, bye bye.